Ohio. Trento, the city in the north of Italy. Capital of the area of Trentino Alto Adige and administrative center of the province of the same name of Trento. Trento is located in riverheads of Adige at a foot of the Alps. The city lies in the wide glacial valley. In the territory of Trento, two of her inflows, Fresina and Avisio, fall into Adige. Around the city rather high mountains representing southeast spurs of the Alpine mountain chain including Vigolana, 2150 m, Monte Bondone, 2181 m, Heidenella, 2124 m. Rise. Near Trento there are several large lakes, including Lake Garda, Caldonazzo, Lavico and Toblino. The issue of emergence of the city settlement on the place of modern Trento still causes a controversy. Some historians believe that the Alpine tribes of Areta, whose family tree is built to Etruscans, to Celts, to Cimbri, were founders of the city. According to other version, the city was founded by Gauls about the 4th century to An. At the end of the 1st century BB, Trento was won by ancient Romans. The settlement in the territory of Trento Romans called Trident, as the city was surrounded by 3 hills: Trent, Sant'Agata and San Rosso. Later, in the period of the Middle Ages, on walls of the hall of meetings of a city town hall the following words were beaten up: Nontes argentum mihi dant nomenc Tridentum. Attributed to Fra Bartolomeo da Trento. 1251. After fall of the Roman Empire of Trento, repeatedly I changed the state accessory. The city was a part of kingdoms of Ostgoth, Lombards, Frankish Empire of Carlovingians. With 961 Trento, it was included in structure of the Sacred Roman Empire. In 1027 the Emperor Conrad II based Episcopacy Trent, to which I granted extensive land possession in the southern Tyrol and the status of the sovereign principality. Eventually, however, influence of episcopacy fell, giving way to secular feudal lords of the region, at first Dukes Moransky, and since the 13th century, to columns of Tyrol. At the same time, rise of production in possession of bishops began. Industrial development of fields of silver in the field of Montecalcio began. The Prince-Bishop of Trent, Federico Vanga, even issued the first in the Alpine region code of mining. In 1475 in Trento there was a mysterious disappearance of the 3-year-old boy by the name of Simone, the blame for which was laid on local Jewish community that led to large repressions against Jews. Simone was even canonized. Only in the 20th century the Catholic Church admitted a charge of the Jewish community groundless and cancelled worship Simona Trentscomo. In the 16th century of Trento became the venue of the well-known Tridentski Cathedral. 1545-1563, which opened the Counter-Reformation period in Europe and approved a number of the major Catholic doctrines. The significant role in work of cathedral was played by the Prince-Bishop of Trent Cristoforo Madruzo, 1539-1567. By this time the episcopacy got under protectorate Austrian Habsburg, which actually subordinated themselves administrative facilities of episcopacy. Nevertheless, Trento kept formal independence before Napoleonic Wars. Rather extensive territories in the southern Tyrol, on both banks of the river of Adige, were a part of the principality. In 1797 and later in 1801 the city was occupied by the French troops. The Regensburg Reichstag, 1803, of Sacred Roman Empire made the decision on laicization of all church possession in the territory of Germany. Temporal power of the bishop was liquidated, his territory is attached to Austria. The bishop kept only priestly powers on lands the Trento which the extreme south of Tyrol entered. In 1805-1814 Trento I entered as a part of Bavaria, and in 1814 according to the decision of the Vienna Congress it was returned to the Austrian Empire, having been a part of the Crown State of Tyrol. In the 19th century the economy and a control system of Trento were considerably modernized. In 1859 the city was connected with other parts of the empire by the first railroad. After reunification of Italy in Trento, Trieste and other cities of the Austrian Empire with the Italian population, the strong Irredentisti movement for the purpose of reunion with Italy began. In 1908 in Trento as the journalist Benito Mussolini worked. From the beginning of World War I the Irredentisti movement reached peak of the development. The Italian nationalists of the southern Tyrol refused to serve in the Austrian army and came over to the side of Italy. The huge resonance was received by an execution in the Buon Consiglio Lock of Damiano Sizzi and Cesare Battisti, two Trent Irredentists who had joined the Italian army and seized with the Austrians. During War of the Earth of the southern Tyrol and the Valley of Adige became the main battlefield between Italy and Austria that caused a considerable loss to economy of Trento. After the end of war Trento and all southern Tyrol to the main Alpine mountain crest were transferred to Italy. After Mussolini's capitulation during World War II, 1943, the German troops intruded in northern Italy. Trento and the southern Tyrol were annexed by Germany and were a part of the Third Reich. The local German minority hostile in relation to Italians tried to use it for squaring of accounts, however they were stopped by the Nazis who were still considering Mussolini the ally and the head of the Republic. From November 1944 to April 1945 Trento strongly suffered from bombings of aircraft of the Allies seeking to destroy the communications of Nazi armies connecting Italy with Germany. By modern estimates on the territory from Verona to the Brennerski Pass more than 1,000 tons of bombs were dumped. Some buildings in Trento were destroyed, also the Santa Maria Maggiore church suffered. However, the majority of ancient buildings of the city remained. Since 1950 years of Trento and the area surrounding it entered the period of economic and cultural recovery that was promoted considerably by granting wide autonomy to the region of Trentino Alto Adige. Primary branches of economy of Trento: tourism, trade, services sector, intensive agriculture and food industry, including winemaking and processing of fruit. The knowledge-intensive industries, whereas the processing productions endure recession, are here too developed. Transport and logistics, as the city is on the important way from Germany to Italy, is of great importance. In the neighborhood of Trento still extract pink and white porphyry, which is widely used in local architecture. Annually in Trento the international competition of conductors of Antonio Pedrotti is held. The famous Italian composer Pedrotti, 1901–1975, was a constant conductor local, Haydn orchestra, from the date of his foundation in 1960. The patron of the commune esteems the Saint Vigili from Trento, celebration on June 26. Sites. In architecture of Trento, traditions of the Italian Renaissance and the German Gothic style closely intertwined. The historic center of the city quite small by the sizes. The majority of monuments of architecture is restored, and for buildings of Renaissance their original pastel colors and wooden balconies were restored. At Piazza fragments of an ancient city wall and a round surf tower remained. In the Middle Ages the city wall surrounded all city and the adjacent Buon Consiglio lock. Main monuments of architecture of Trento. The Cathedral of the Saint Vigilia, the Romance and Gothic cathedral of the 12th, 13th centuries, constructed on the place of an ancient Roman basilica. Cathedral Square, open space opposite to Cathedral Street. Vidalio, with the buildings decorated with frescoes in style of Renaissance and the classicistic fountain in the form of the Neptune in the middle. Santa Maria Maggiore Church, 1520. The venue of the first meetings of Tridentity Cathedral, 1562–1563. The Buon Consiglio Lock, a characteristic monument of medieval castle architecture with a majestic eagle tower. Ital. Tor dell'Aquila. And unique frescoes of the 15th century. Palace dell'Albert, the estate in style of the Renaissance on the bank of Adige, now the Museum of Modern Art. Pretorio's Palace, the palace of the 12th century at Cathedral Square, the Museum of Church Painting of Baroque. Remains of estates and roads of the ancient Roman city. Tower Vanga, constructed in 1210. Trento also knows modernism monuments, in particular the building of the railway station, constructed on the project of the architect Angelo Mazzoni in 1934–1936, which is considered one of the best among the Italian stations, and in the design connects a stone, glass, concrete and metal. In the 1930th years in the city several works by architects of the Italian neo-rationalistic current in architecture. The building of Grand Hotel J. Lorenzi, the building of Elementary School of R. Sanso of A. Libera. Appeared. Near Trento, in the city of Rovereto, the Museum of Modern Art is located. In Trento also there takes place the Mountain Trent Film Festival. People around of Trento of the mountain, the place of active summer and winter tourism. On the Mount Montebondone there is an alpine botanical garden put in 1938. Famous people. Bertagnoli, Leonardo, one of the strongest Italian bicycle racers of the beginning of the 21st century. Bortolotti, Mirko is the Italian racing driver. Champion of the Italian Formula -3 of 2008. Now supports the Red Bull team in a Formula -2. Hellas, Matthias is the Field Marshal of Imperial Troops, the participant of 30 Years' War. Lubik, Chiara is the foundress of the Catholic movement of Focolare, the famous figure of the ecumenical movement. Pozzo, Andrea Del, the Italian painter and the architect. Representative of Baroque. The masterly master of illusionistic painting. Frescoes in Church of Sant'Ignazio in Rome, 1685-1699. The author of the treatise according to the theory of prospect. De Gasperi, outside as the post-war Prime Minister of Italy, it is considered one of founding fathers of the European Union. Mattioli, Pietro Andrea, the Italian botanist and the doctor whose name called a sort of flowering plants of Matahola. Gilliflower. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.